Blessed are the merciful. Why compassion changes everything. Holy Path Insights. Have you ever been wronged, hurt, or betrayed and struggled to forgive? Mercy sounds beautiful until it becomes personal. But Jesus says, blessed are the merciful. Could it be that showing mercy is not a burden but the doorway to healing? In a world quick to cancel, criticize, and condemn, mercy feels rare. But in the kingdom of God, it's the language of the truly blessed. Mercy doesn't ignore justice, it goes deeper. It transforms both the giver and the receiver. If you've ever needed a second chance or found the strength to give one this, Beatitude is speaking to you. Because mercy isn't weakness. It's what makes us most like God. We all know what it feels like to fall short, to say something we regret, to let someone down, to carry the weight of guilt or shame. And we all know the power of a moment when someone could have judged us but chose mercy instead. Jesus says, blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. At first glance, it sounds like a spiritual transaction. If you give mercy, you'll get mercy, but it's much deeper than that. This beatitude describes a way of living, a posture of the heart that reflects the very character of God. Mercy isn't just forgiveness, it's compassion in action. It's empathy when it's easier to ignore. It's grace when judgment feels justified. It's lifting someone up instead of walking away. It's giving what someone doesn't deserve, because that's exactly what we've received from God. In a world that teaches us to be strong, to protect ourselves, to keep score and remember wrongs, mercy feels vulnerable, risky, even foolish. But Jesus says it's the path to blessing. Mercy is not about enabling sin or avoiding truth. It's about choosing redemption over revenge, relationship over resentment. To be merciful is to look into someone's failure and still see their worth. It's to respond to pain not with punishment, but with presence, not with distance, but with dignity. Mercy also calls us out of our comfort. It invites us to see suffering not as a problem to fix or a threat to avoid, but as a place to meet God. Look at the life of Jesus. He touched lepers when others backed away. He dined with sinners when others judged them. He forgave from the cross when others mocked him. Mercy was not an accessory to his mission, it was the heartbeat of it. And if we're going to follow him, it has to become ours too. But how do we live mercy in daily life? How do we forgive what feels unforgivable? How do we show compassion when we feel stretched thin? How do we become merciful when the world tells us to be cynical and guarded? This beatitude isn't offering easy answers. It's offering an invitation. An invitation to remember the mercy we've been given, an invitation to pass it on, an invitation to trust that when we show mercy, we receive it in ways we may never expect. Because here's the secret. The merciful are free from bitterness, free from the prison of offense, free to love, free to be loved, free to receive mercy from the only one who gives it perfectly. In the next part, we'll explore what biblical mercy truly means, how it differs from leniency or enabling, and why Jesus made it a non-negotiable part of the blessed life. But before we go there, ask yourself, who has shown you mercy, and how did it change you? Who in your life is in desperate need of it now? And what would your world look like if mercy became your default, not your exception? Because mercy is not just something we give, it's something we live. And Jesus says, when you live it, you will receive it. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Matthew 5:7. At the heart of this beatitude is a divine paradox. The more mercy you give, the more mercy you receive. Not as a transaction, but as a transformation. Mercy isn't just a spiritual principle, the reflection of God's heart in yours. But what does it really mean to be merciful? In Scripture, mercy is not limited to feelings of pity or moments of forgiveness. The biblical idea of mercy, from the Greek word eleos, involves compassion expressed through action. It is love that moves. Mercy sees pain and responds. It recognizes suffering and steps toward it. To be merciful is to imitate God. The entire story of redemption is built on mercy. God didn't abandon Adam and Eve after the fall, He clothed them. He didn't destroy Israel in the wilderness. He led and fed them. He didn't leave us in sin, He sent His Son. Mercy is the reason Jesus came, and mercy is the reason He still calls us to follow Him. There are two primary expressions of mercy in Scripture: forgiveness toward those who wrong us, compassion toward those who suffer. Let's explore both. Mercy as forgiveness. We live in a world where grudges are normalized and payback is glorified, but Jesus tells us to do the opposite. In the Lord's Prayer, He connects mercy with forgiveness. Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. To withhold mercy is to forget how much we've been forgiven. Mercy doesn't mean denying justice or pretending pain didn't happen. Mercy means choosing not to be the judge. It means letting go of the need to punish and entrusting justice to God. Forgiveness is one of the hardest acts of mercy, but also one of the most freeing. When you forgive, you release bitterness. You refuse to let the past define your future. You make space for healing. And as Jesus promises, those who extend mercy will experience it in return. Mercy as compassion. Mercy also shows up in how we treat the hurting. Jesus constantly demonstrated this kind of mercy. He wept with Mary and Martha. He fed the hungry. He healed the sick. He restored the outcast. Mercy doesn't ask, do they deserve help? It asks, how can I help? To be merciful is to have a heart that slows down for the suffering, pays attention to those in pain, serves even when it's inconvenient. This isn't optional, it's essential. Micah 6:8 says, "What does the Lord require of you? To act justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God." Mercy versus pity. Mercy is not pity. Pity looks down, mercy kneels down, pity keeps distance, mercy draws close. Mercy versus enabling. Mercy also doesn't mean enabling sin. It means confronting wrongdoing with love, truth, and the hope of restoration. Jesus never ignored sin, but He always addressed it with grace. "Neither do I condemn you," He said to the adulterous woman. "Go and sin no more." That's mercy in full. The blessing. They shall obtain mercy. This promise is deeply personal. It means that when we live mercifully, we experience deeper intimacy with God. We receive mercy in our own failures. We grow in tenderness, humility, and peace. We create communities that heal instead of hurt. But this beatitude also has eternal significance. In the final judgment, mercy will be remembered. James 2:13 says, "Judgment without mercy will be shown to anyone who has not been merciful." Mercy triumphs over judgment. A lifestyle of mercy. Mercy is not an occasional act, it's a lifestyle. It's how we speak to others, how we respond when wronged, how we view those society rejects, how we treat those who can't repay us. To hunger for righteousness is to long for God's standards. To live in mercy is to embody God's heart. When both exist together, we reflect the fullness of Christ's truth and grace, justice and mercy, holiness and compassion. So how do we grow in mercy? Remember how much mercy you've received. Let gratitude soften your heart. Pray for those who hurt you. Mercy often starts with prayer. Interrupt your day to serve. Compassion costs time but brings life. Let mercy guide your reactions. When you're tempted to condemn, pause. Choose grace. And above all, ask the Holy Spirit to make your heart like Jesus, the one who looked on the crowd and had compassion, the one who forgave from the cross, the one who calls us to follow in His merciful steps. Blessed are the merciful, Jesus said, not the harsh, not the vengeful, not the indifferent, the merciful, and the promise still holds. They shall obtain mercy. Mercy isn't just a religious concept, it's a relational one. Blessed are the merciful. Jesus says not just in moments of crisis, but in the rhythm of everyday life. In our homes, workplaces, friendships, and even in how we think about strangers, mercy has the power to reshape everything. We don't need a global catastrophe to live this beatitude. We just need to pay attention to the opportunities all around us to reflect the heart of God in small, consistent ways. 1. Mercy in the home. Grace for those closest to you. Mercy begins where we are known the most and often hurt the most. In families, we have daily chances to show mercy when your spouse forgets again, when your child tests your patience, when your sibling says something careless. Mercy chooses to understand rather than attack. It assumes the best, not the worst. It offers grace, even when you're tired. Mercy at home might mean a gentle tone instead of sarcasm, and I forgive you instead of silence, a willingness to let go instead of keeping score. These choices build an atmosphere where love grows and shame cannot. Mercy in friendships and community. No relationship is immune to disappointment, but merciful people learn to forgive without gossip, correct with kindness, and protect dignity. In your circle of friends or community, do you give second chances? Do you hold grudges or extend grace? Do you make space for others to grow? Mercy makes relationships safe. It lets people be human. It nurtures trust. Mercy in the workplace. Compassion over competition. Workplaces can be filled with pressure, pride, and politics. But mercy cuts through the noise with quiet strength. Mercy at work means covering someone's mistake instead of exposing it, encouraging instead of criticizing, helping a struggling colleague without needing credit, refusing to step on others to get ahead. People notice mercy in professional spaces. It's rare, it's refreshing, and it reflects a deeper integrity. Mercy in society. Seeing the invisible. To be merciful is to live with eyes open to suffering. It's seeing the single mother in the grocery line, the homeless man at the intersection, the elderly neighbor who feels forgotten. Mercy doesn't ask, are they deserving? It asks, what can I do? It might mean buying someone a meal, checking on someone who's grieving, supporting causes that protect the vulnerable. Mercy becomes real when it costs us comfort but brings someone else hope. Mercy in conflict, choosing restoration over revenge. In an age of cancel culture, social media outrage, and polarized opinions, mercy is revolutionary. When you're offended, mercy says, let me listen, let me pause, let me forgive. Mercy doesn't excuse sin, but it creates space for change. It doesn't mean silence, but it refuses to dehumanize. It means refusing to define someone by their worst moment. Jesus never said, blessed are those who win every argument. He said, blessed are the merciful. Mercy in self-talk, receiving grace yourself. Sometimes the hardest person to show mercy to is yourself. Many people live with guilt, shame, and a harsh internal voice. But living this beatitude also means accepting the mercy of God in your own life. Are you quick to condemn yourself? Do you rehearse past failures more than God's grace? Do you believe His mercy is bigger than your mistakes? Receiving mercy allows you to give it, and giving mercy deepens your experience of it. Mercy as a daily posture. Mercy is not a mood, it's a mindset. To cultivate mercy in daily life, start your day asking, Lord, where can I show mercy today? Slow down enough to notice people's needs. Let compassion interrupt your plans. Forgive small things quickly. Speak gently when you're frustrated. Over time, mercy becomes muscle memory. It becomes your language. The ripple effect of mercy. One act of mercy can shift an entire environment. A kind word can diffuse tension. A second chance can restore a reputation. A small sacrifice can meet someone's deepest need. Mercy multiplies. It spreads. It inspires others to live the same. Living the beatitude in the ordinary. This beatitude isn't only for saints or heroes. It's for anyone who wakes up and says, Lord, I've received your mercy. Now let me live it. And the promise is clear. You will obtain mercy not just later, but now, in peace, in freedom, in connection, in joy. Mercy is not weakness, it's the strength to love when it's hardest. And it's in the daily choice to be merciful that we begin to look like Christ. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Today, let that be you. Mercy is not a distant theological concept, it is a lived virtue. And the saints who embodied it didn't live lives free from pain, betrayal, or injustice. On the contrary, they lived through suffering but chose compassion instead of bitterness, forgiveness instead of revenge, action instead of apathy. Let's look at 4 saints who became living echoes of Christ's mercy in their own way, each in a world that desperately needed it. Saint Maria Goretti, mercy in the face of violence. Saint Maria Goretti was only 11 years old when she was attacked by a young man who tried to assault her. When she resisted, he stabbed her repeatedly. As she lay dying, she forgave him. Her final words were, "I forgive Alessandro. I want him with me in heaven." Years later, Alessandro's attacker repented in prison after seeing her in a dream. He eventually became a lay brother in a monastery and was present at Maria's canonization. Maria's mercy didn't excuse evil, it transformed it. Her story reminds us that mercy is not the absence of pain, but the choice to let God write the final word. St. Vincent de Paul, mercy for the forgotten poor. St. Vincent de Paul, once a priest focused on status and success, had his life changed by an encounter with the poor. He began to see the face of Christ in the sick, the hungry, and the imprisoned. He founded missions, hospitals, and communities dedicated to serving the most neglected. He taught that mercy wasn't charity, it was justice. Vincent once said, "Go to the poor, you will find God." His legacy continues through the Vincentian family and the thousands of charitable organizations that bear his name. His mercy wasn't theoretical, it was hands-on, street level, and heart deep. Saint John Paul II, mercy after attempted murder. In 1981, Pope John Paul II was shot in an assassination attempt. After recovering, he did something radical. He went to the prison cell of his attacker and forgave him face to face. This moment captured the world's attention. But it wasn't a performance, it was consistent with everything John Paul II believed about mercy. He declared 2000 a year of mercy and canonized Saint Faustina, the saint of divine mercy. His message was clear. Mercy isn't weakness, it's power under grace, and it's central to the gospel. Saint Mother Teresa, mercy for the unseen and unwanted. No list of merciful saints would be complete without Saint Teresa of Calcutta. She spent her life tending to the poorest of the poor, the dying, the abandoned, the outcast of society. She picked people up off the streets, cleaned their wounds, and whispered to them, "You are loved." She once said, "If we have no peace, it is because we have forgotten that we belong to each other." Mother Teresa's mercy was fiercely practical. She didn't just feel compassion, she acted on it, daily, relentlessly, and without needing to be thanked. What these saints teach us. Though their stories differ, these saints share 3 things. They received mercy deeply from God. They extended mercy even when it cost them. Their mercy bore fruit in healing, in conversion, in legacy. Their lives echo the rhythm of the Beatitude. Blessed are the merciful. They shall obtain mercy. They weren't perfect. They weren't always celebrated, but they were merciful, and that made all the difference. Everyday mercy can be holy too. Not all of us will be martyrs, popes, or global missionaries, but the same mercy can live in us. When we forgive a deep hurt, when we feed someone hungry, when we choose to stay soft in a hard world, when we serve without being seen, the saints didn't become merciful overnight. It was a daily decision to reflect the God who had been merciful to them. The mercy of God is never wasted. Sometimes we fear that mercy will be ignored, abused, or seen as weakness. But Jesus promises otherwise. What you forgive will be remembered in heaven. What you give in secret will be rewarded openly. What you do for the least of these, you do for Him. Mercy multiplies. and the saints prove that it ripples through generations. An invitation to join them? This beatitude is an invitation not just to admire mercy, but to live it. You may not be canonized, but you can be Christ-like. Who do you need to forgive today? Where is mercy most absent in your world? What would it look like to bring it there? You may never stand on a global stage, but in the quiet acts of mercy, apology, the visit, the meal, the listening ear, you join the company of the merciful. You become one of the blessed, and one day you too will hear the words, "Well done, for I was hungry, and you fed me. I was a stranger, and you welcomed me." Matthew 25. Because mercy is the mark of those who belong to the kingdom, and those who give it will receive it. Mercy doesn't always make headlines. It rarely feels easy. But in the eyes of heaven, mercy is power. When Jesus said, "Blessed are the merciful," he wasn't suggesting a nice personality trait. He was revealing the very nature of the kingdom. A world built not on revenge, but on restoration. Not on competition, but on compassion. And the reward? They shall obtain mercy. This beatitude is both a promise and a mirror. It asks us, how do you treat those who fall short? How do you respond to weakness, failure, or pain? Do you reflect the mercy you've received or withhold it? Jesus doesn't separate giving mercy from receiving it. He connects them. Not because he needs to bribe us, but because he knows the only way to hold mercy is to open your hands. And when we do, something beautiful happens. Resentment begins to dissolve. Healing begins to take root. Relationships begin to mend. The heart grows softer, wiser, freer, because mercy doesn't just change others, it changes us. Mercy frees us from the burden of revenge. It silences the voice of shame. It breaks the cycle of judgment. It brings heaven closer to earth. And it reminds us that no matter how far we've fallen, there is a God who still kneels beside us, lifting us up again and again. So how do we respond to this beatitude? Reflect. Who in your life needs mercy today, spoken or unspoken? What area of your own life still needs to receive God's mercy? Release. Let go of the grudges, the old wounds, the self-condemnation. Lay them before the cross. His mercy is more than enough. Respond. Choose one act of mercy this week. A visit, a phone call, a word of grace, a gift to someone in need. Let mercy become movement. Remain. Stay rooted in the mercy of God. Let it shape your identity, guide your choices, and fill your heart with the kind of love that never runs dry. In the next video, we'll explore the sixth beatitude. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. You'll discover that purity isn't about perfection, it's about clarity, about undivided devotion, about living with a heart that truly longs to see God in everything. So don't stop here. Reflect on your need for mercy. Become a vessel of it for others. And subscribe to Holy Path Insights so you never miss what's next on this life-changing journey through the Beatitudes. Because mercy is not just something God gives, it's something He calls us to live. And those who live it will never be the same. Mercy changes everything. It doesn't erase pain, but it rewrites the story. It doesn't pretend wrong didn't happen, but it chooses a different ending. It doesn't wait to be earned, it steps forward first. In this beatitude, Jesus reveals the paradox of grace. The more mercy you give, the more you discover how deeply you need it. And the more you receive it, the more freely you give. That's how the kingdom works. So if you've ever longed to be seen, not judged, if you've ever needed a second chance, if you've ever chosen compassion when condemnation was easier, you already know the power of mercy. It heals wounds, it builds bridges, it sets hearts free, and it reflects the God who knelt beside sinners, dined with outcasts, and forgave from a cross. Today, you are invited to do the same. Start small, offer grace where you've withheld it. Forgive before it's asked. Give without expecting return. Let your presence become someone's healing, because in the end, it won't be your strength, talent, or reputation that defines you. It will be your love. And love always looks like mercy. As we close this video, remember, mercy is not a moment, it's a lifestyle. And Jesus didn't just bless the merciful, he became one of them. So walk in his footsteps and let your life echo his compassion. In our next video, we'll explore the 6th Beatitude. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. We'll discover what it means to live with a heart undivided and how purity isn't about rules, but about relationship. Subscribe to Holy Path Insights, share this message with someone in need of grace, and keep walking this sacred path on beatitude at a time, because the merciful will be shown mercy.